I am Latasha Morrison, and I am the founder and president of an organization called Be the Bridge. I'm also a speaker, a writer, and a consultant where I wrote a book that hit the New York Times bestseller list. So excited about that. And it is also called Be the Bridge. And so we're helping empower people toward racial equity, healing, and racial reconciliation. This work started from my own life. I started this back in 2014, started having conversations and with a diverse group of people, and realized that, we did not understand each other. Things were happening and we were approaching this from two different angles. We didn't have a shared language or a common memory. We talked about history differently. We didn't know each other. And so I'm like, if I'm going to be in community with people and build relationships with people, I need you to know me. I need you to understand me the same way that I want to know you and understand you. We have to know each other's stories. So we started from there, and I've developed a guided, I guess you would say, a guided journal to help people have that first on-ramping discussion with a diverse group of people. This is not the end, but just the beginning to a lot of work and unlayering that we have to do. And so that's how I started in this, and the thing took off, and a lot of people found out what we were doing and wanted to do this. And so we've created tools and resources to help people to have this conversation, a distinct and transformative conversation on racial healing and understanding what's broken and why we need to be a part of the solution and why we need these issues fixed. This group walks us through this phase of awareness that we go through when we realize that things are so broken, they're a mess. And sometimes that can really cause us to put our heads down and bury it in the sand, or some of us can be brave enough to say, you know what, I don't have all the answers. I see that people are hurting. I don't understand, but I want to show up for my neighbors. I want to show up and begin to equip myself to be a part of the solution. And that's what this is about. The Be the Bridge groups in there, you get to know one another. We walk you through awareness, acknowledgement, understanding sorrow, because a lot of times we get to this point where we hear about our history and there's this shame and guilt. This is not to shame and guilt anyone into anything. This is about us having a collective sorrow that moves us towards this righteousness and justice. And that's what we want to do. And I think that's important for this conversation and this healing, not only for those of us that are telling our stories, but those of us that listen to the stories. This is a shared experience where we get to know each other on a deeper level. And so that's one of the things that we do. The other thing that I would say that's important as you join our group is we have these words that we say, you want to lean into listening. You want to lean into learning, educating yourself. Don't expect someone else to educate you. Educate yourself and have other people to guide you and point you in directions, but be willing to show up and do the work. We want people to, we use this word called lament, but only thing that is just sometimes is really having deep empathy, is having sorrow, is a mourning, because sometimes when we hear all of this, it's overwhelming and we don't know what to do with that feeling and feeling overwhelmed. And sometimes we can just hold hands with one another, hug each other with one another and say, I didn't cause the issues. I don't know what the solution is, but I'm here, and I'm going to walk with you in this until the end, or we're going to walk together in this in the end. And so, and then really from there, it's just leveraging our our position, our voices, our gifts, our talents to really tell other people about what's happening. And then the last thing is, because when we always talk about love, all we need is love. Yes, love is great, but how do we get to love, and how do we demonstrate love? And so when we look at how do we demonstrate love, the act of listening, which is a verb, learning, that, which is another one, and then lamenting, and then this right here leads us to how we demonstrate love, and to one another. And I think that's important in this conversation that is so complex, that is older than you and I and everyone listening put together. We didn't break it. It's not our fault, but it is our responsibility as citizens of this country to be a part of the solution and to create a better future for the next generation, that they won't have to deal with the things that we're dealing with, or that our grandparents dealt with, or our parents dealt with, but we're passing them a baton that's a little bit better, that's a little bit more unified, that's a little bit demonstrating more empathy, that's empathetic, that's a little bit, there's more equity there, that they're getting the full truth, and I think that's the thing that's going to move us forward. And just, just an encouragement to the military community. I am a product of the military community. My father was an 82nd Airborne. My grandfather was in the military. I grew up in Fayetteville, North Carolina, Fort Bragg. And so I am a product of this. So I know this is possible. I am here today because of the inclusion in the community that I grew up, where being able to experience differences and understand and wanting to talk about it. So you guys have such a leverage on the rest of the world that doesn't even have that in many places. And so you can find me at latashamorrison.com, but also at bethebridge.com. That's our website. You can find out more information, our offerings, find out more about our programming, and on all the social media. It is my name, Latasha Morrison, and also Be the Bridge on Instagram. You can follow us to find out more information about what we're doing. And then our podcast. Our podcast is called Be the Bridge. You can find that on all the stations where podcasts are available. And this is another equipping tool where we interview people like yourself, Megan, that are doing amazing work in the military and their communities. And we kind of share the stories of bridge builders all around. And we also really dissect some of the cultural problems that we're having in our world. And so we get the opportunity to speak with some great people. So this is a great tool for those of you who want to know a little bit more, is to listen to the Be the Bridge podcast.